Hello students, welcome back. So this is the first of your weekly lecture videos. I will be releasing these videos once a week at the top of the week. I may produce more videos if there are any topics that we need to dive into a little bit more deeply. So in this video, we're going to be talking about your past experience as a writer. And we're going to talk about a couple of frameworks that will help you think about your past experience as a writer. Why is that useful? Well, if you can reflect on your past experiences, then it makes it easier for you to assess where you are and think about what your goals for this course might be. So we're going to be talking about things like metacognition, we're going to be talking about discourse communities, and of course we're going to talk a little bit more about the progression of assignments and what you're going to be doing in this course, and of course the course theme, rhetoric in advertising. So here we go. We soak in advertising. Advertising is so woven into the fabric of our culture that sometimes we don't even realize we're being advertised to. Take a minute to think about all of the ads you encounter on a daily basis. You see ads, of course, obviously on television, in your YouTube videos. You might hear them on the radio. You might see ads on the bus. You see billboards. There are also those sneaky advertisements. Things like when your favorite Instagram blogger is giving an endorsement and talks about a product, that's also an ad. So what we're going to be doing in this class is we're going to be analyzing those ads. We're going to pick them apart to figure out how they work. And if we can pick them apart and figure out how they work, and we can understand that, then we can more intelligently engage with the world around us. Understanding how ads work can also be useful for thinking about rhetoric in general. In week 2, we're going to talk about rhetoric more broadly, but for now, rhetoric is how we say what we say. There are lots of different ways we can communicate a message, and rhetoric is how we do it. So in this class, the rhetoric of advertising, we're going to look at how ads operate. And your ARP, that's the Analytical Research Project, is going to center around picking apart an advertisement and then making an argument for how the ad works the way it works. So I wonder how many of you are OSU football fans. Here at Ohio State, it's kind of hard to escape the football culture. It really is the fabric of this campus. Many of you have been here for a year or so. If you haven't, you'll see. But think about the language that you use when you talk about football. Now, whether you're a fan or not, think about it. If you're a football fan, think about the words you use to talk about football that maybe don't mean the same thing that they mean when you're talking about other things. For example, what is a down outside of football? What is a sack, right? Now, we know that a sack is like a grocery sack, but it means something different in football. If you're a football fan, you understand what these words mean, and you use them to connect with other football fans. When you have a shared language like this, that you in the community understand, but people outside the community maybe don't understand, then you belong to a discourse community. Now, you're a member of many discourse communities. It might center around a hobby. It might be regional. For example, that strip of grass that sits between the sidewalk and the road, what do you call that? Do you have a word for it? In Northeast Ohio, where I'm from, we call it a double strip. Some people in different regions of the country call it a tree lawn or a median, or maybe they don't have a word for it. But the word that I use to describe that signals my discourse community. So it can be geographic. It can have to do with your race, with your culture. It can have to do with your interests and your hobbies. So keep in mind that we are all members of many different discourse communities. And in this class, my goal is to introduce you to the discourse community of academia. People write a little bit differently in academia than they do in, say, a marketing firm, or maybe somebody who's writing a novel would use different language. So we're really going to talk about academic writing and how you can improve your academic writing skills. Anne Lamott is one of my favorite writers. She writes fiction, but she also writes about writing. And in her book, Bird by Bird, which is a book about writing, she has a chapter called Shitty First Drafts. I love Anne Lamott because she's so candid. She talks about how all first drafts kind of suck a little bit. They're rough, and they're meant to be. If you don't get that messy first draft down, then there may be some brilliant idea that you needed to work hard to get out that you would never otherwise discover. Now, you don't just stop at the shitty first draft. After that, you go and you fix the draft up, you delete the things you don't love, you expand on the things you do love. But the key here is that writing takes bravery. You have to be brave enough to put down something that's not perfect, because later you're going to make it better. So I hope in this class that you think of writing as a process, something that you are constantly going to be working to improve, and that you have courage and you try new things and see if they work, and if they don't, go back to the drawing board and try something else again. Be resilient. The last thing I want to talk about are your activities and assignments for the week. So there are two things that I'd like you to do. I would like you to complete the first day writing. It just asks you some questions about your writing process, what you know about the course theme. You can find the prompt in the discussion forum. The second thing I'd like you to complete is the first year writing program entrance assessment. This is not a test, but it is some data that we collect so that we can improve instruction in our department. So please do complete that as well. I look forward to seeing what you write, and I will see you soon.